So the central idea of the middle way is what I want to take is, first of all, this idea that our lives don't have to be as strictly unified as the reflective self-constitution view suggests, that there's got to be room for spontaneity, because otherwise how could we discover what things we want to endorse? We don't know that just by stepping back and reflecting. We have to get to know ourselves. We have to learn who we are. We have to give our natural inclinations a chance to express themselves before we would even know how to intervene in the way that reflective endorsement is supposed to do to constitute a self. But I also respect their view that there's a worry about just having a chaotic life if you don't do that, and especially if you don't automatically accept Emerson's assurances that there's some deep unity and it will all take care of itself, right? What if is there room to avoid chaos, allow spontaneity and avoid chaos without making that kind of strong assumption is really the sort of thing I'm trying to do. And the way that I do it is by saying that we have to understand the self as a kind of complicated, our sense of self as a sort of complicated, multi-perspectival way of experiencing the world and ourselves. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I think we have probably in part through evolutionary action, but also through socialization, as we develop self-consciousness, as we develop as humans, a strong background awareness that we're living a life that's single and finite, and that it has a trajectory. There's going to be a life story. Other people see me as a single being from the time I'm born, from roughly cradle to grave. I mean, there's some arguments about the endpoints. I come to see myself that way. I come to experience myself that way. So always I understand myself in a sort of deep experiential way. I experience myself as a single being living a life that's roughly linear from birth to death. And that's in the background most of the time. I mean, I'm not always thinking about it, but it's always there. I'm always aware of it in the background. But at the same time, there are all these contradictory drives and impulses of the moment. And so roughly my view is that the way for a human life to proceed that might allow flourishing is that we operate simultaneously with the pulls of the moment and this background awareness that they're happening in the context of an ongoing life, that what happens now will have consequences for the future, that it's constrained in certain ways by what happened in the past. We don't have to think about that. It's just, right, when I get on the airplane, I've got the ticket I bought, so I have to sit in that seat. Just things as simple as that. But because we do this, because we have this multi-perspectival sense, we're able both to let go a little bit, to experience what's happening in the moment with a kind of self-trust, not in a deep Emersonian self that's going to make everything unified in the end, but with a trust that this background awareness of ourselves as leading a single life will do its work and put some constraints on what we're doing, right? When I'm on holiday, I don't just completely forget that I have a family or a job or something and forget to go back or something. That background awareness is always getting me to the next place. So there's a certain trust in that. We don't always need to stop and think, am I going to act on this or am I going to not act on that? We can give ourselves a little space to play and explore with that self-trust. But there will also be times when we're going to have to intervene, and those will reveal themselves because things will start going badly, and then we maybe need to step back and think about when we'll intervene. So the pictures, another nice thing about this view is since you have a view of a lives have stages, and there really is a sense there are times you can explore in life and you can be a little bit more lax. So maybe, right, when you're in adolescence, there's a little bit more freedom. At other times, there's a little less freedom. All of that, I think, is internalized so that you have this sort of ongoing behind the scenes negotiation of what you want to do now and how your whole life is going. And that's a peculiar kind of experience that we humans have. And when that's going sort of harmoniously and spontaneously is when we're flourishing.